beating a carpet after breakfast, carrying a salmon suspiciously, or shaking your doormat at dusk. These are all illegal acts in Britain's law books. But what if those oddities were just the tip of a much bigger story? Today, thousands of modern prohibitions quietly dictate life in Britain. From the words you type online to the objects in your pocket. How did a nation famed for liberty become one of the most regulated democracies on earth? The answer is stranger and more urgent than you think. Victorian lawmakers had a knack for dreaming up rules that feel almost surreal today. Under the Metropolitan Police Act of 1839, beating a carpet in the street after 8 in the morning could land you a fine. Shaking a doormat outside your home after 8 at night was also illegal. These were not just idle threats. Records show a London man was fined in 2007 for cleaning his rug on the pavement, a reminder that even the strangest rules can still bite. The Town Police Clauses Act of 1847 took aim at childhood fun, banning kite flying and sliding on ice in public streets. These measures were meant to keep crowded city roads safe, but they turned everyday play into a punishable act. Fast forward to the Salmon Act of 1986. Handling a salmon in suspicious circumstances became a criminal offence. That law was born from real concerns about poaching and black market fish, and it has since become a punchline, yet it remains on the books. Each of these odd bans reveals how the law once reached into the smallest corners of daily life. What seems ridiculous on the surface often carried serious intent, and these relics still linger, waiting to be enforced. In a country proud of its traditions, even the quirkiest rules can quietly survive for generations. Layers of law have piled up quietly, year after year. In 1900, Britain had around 500 criminal offences on the books. Today, that number stands at more than 3,000, a six-fold increase in just over a century. Many of these laws are not the result of sweeping reforms, but the steady accumulation of new rules added to old ones, often without ever clearing out what's already there. The Law Commission, a government body set up to keep legislation up to date, has spent decades reviewing statutes and recommending the repeal of obsolete laws. Yet progress is slow. Between 2005 and 2020, the Commission advised scrapping around 250 outdated offences, from witchcraft trials to rules about nighttime wagon driving. Most of these recommendations never made it through Parliament. Instead, the list of criminal acts keeps growing, with new offences layered on top of the old. This statutory overgrowth means that the legal system can reach into nearly every part of daily life, sometimes in ways that surprise even seasoned lawyers. The result is a landscape where the truly bizarre sits alongside the deeply serious, and where the boundaries of legality are constantly expanding. In this climate, the oddities of the past are not just curiosities. They are part of a much larger story about how easily bans can multiply and how slowly they are ever rolled back. In 2016, a Scottish comedian named Marcus Meechan uploaded a video to YouTube as a prank. He taught his girlfriend's pug to raise its paw to the phrase "Sieg Heil." The joke landed him in court. Prosecutors argued the clip was grossly offensive under Section 127 of the Communications Act 2003. After an 18-month legal battle, Meechan, known online as Count Dankula, was found guilty and fined £800 in April 2018. The case became a lightning rod for debate about free speech, with supporters raising over £500,000 for his legal costs and future projects. But Meechan's story is no outlier. Each year, around 3,300 people in the UK are prosecuted for sending messages deemed grossly offensive or menacing online. The Malicious Communications Act, passed in 1988, has seen arrests for causing distress or anxiety rise from about 1,000 in 2000 to over 9,000 by 2022. The law does not require anyone to actually take offence, only that a magistrate agrees the message crosses a shifting line. In Britain today, a tweet or a joke can bring a criminal record, even when no real harm is done. This is a growing challenge for free speech and for everyday life. Carrying a knife longer than 3 inches in public is a crime, unless you can prove a good reason. The Offensive Weapons Act 2019 goes further, outlawing zombie knives, knuckle dusters, and even blowguns. Pepper spray, a common self-defense tool in many countries, is treated as a Section 5 firearm. Possession can bring up to 5 years in prison. Tasers and stun guns are banned for civilians, regardless of circumstance. Even a keychain that looks like it could be used for protection can land you in court. The law expects citizens to rely on proportionate force if attacked, but that line is judged only after the fact. In 1999, farmer Tony Martin shot 2 burglars fleeing his home. He was convicted of murder, later reduced to manslaughter and served 5 years. The case ignited a national debate over the right to defend one's property, but the rules stayed rigid. Bans do not stop at weapons. Single-use plastic straws and stirrers disappeared from shelves in 2021. Polystyrene food containers followed in 2023. The Psychoactive Substances Act of 2016 made it illegal to sell or possess any mind-altering substance not specifically exempted, wiping out so-called legal highs overnight. In Britain, even the objects in your pocket can cross the line into illegality. Platforms face sweeping new obligations under the Online Safety Act 2023. Every website hosting user content must verify the age of anyone accessing adult material and must remove not just illegal posts, but anything judged legal but harmful. Ofcom, the communications regulator for the UK, can now fine tech companies up to 10% of their global revenue for failing to comply. Encrypted messaging apps are under pressure to install backdoors, raising alarms about privacy and surveillance. Meanwhile, the Police, Crime, Sentencing and Courts Act 2022 introduced a new threshold for protest, making causing serious annoyance enough for arrest. One-person demonstrations can be shut down if police decide the noise or disruption is more than minor. The Public Order Act 2023 goes further, criminalising locking on, a tactic used by climate activists, and even criminalising possession of items like glue or bike locks with the intent to protest. Serious disruption. Prevention orders can now restrict individuals from attending protests, even without a conviction. Protest-related arrests have surged, with climate demonstrations alone accounting for thousands of detentions since 2019. The line between public safety and the right to dissent is being redrawn, not by courts but by Parliament and by police policy. The result is a country where collective rights are increasingly managed by algorithm and statute, with little room left for error or defiance. Liberty, a leading human rights group, warns that Britain now watches its citizens more closely than almost any other democracy. Over 6 million CCTV cameras monitor streets, shops, and public spaces. That scale of surveillance is about 1 for every 11 people. Big Brother Watch calls this function creep and points to police use of facial recognition technology for everything from counter-terrorism to tracking petty crime. Their reports show that tools designed for emergencies or rare threats are now part of everyday policing. The government takes a different view. The Home Office argues these measures are vital for public safety, citing falling crime rates in areas with heavy surveillance and the need to counter modern threats like terrorism and knife crime. Officials insist that strict oversight and judicial approval keep these powers in check. Yet, as the web of cameras and data grows, the debate over privacy and freedom only intensifies. Emergency laws passed in times of crisis rarely disappear once the danger fades. Powers granted during World War II lingered for decades, with some regulations only officially repealed in the 1980s. The Prevention of Terrorism Acts, introduced as temporary measures during the Troubles, became permanent fixtures in the Terrorism Act 2000. Even the sweeping controls of the Coronavirus Act 2020, billed as temporary, have been absorbed into new legislation covering protests and public health. Now technology is amplifying the reach of these powers. Police forces deploy live facial recognition at protests, flagging individuals in real time. The Home Office has invested over £100 million in artificial intelligence for predictive policing and content scanning. Digital ID systems, once used for benefits, are expanding to age verification and protest monitoring, with millions of users enrolled. Each new tool makes it possible to enforce bans that once seemed unenforceable, tightening the web of control with every crisis. Britain now enforces more restrictions on speech, protest, and daily life than at any point in modern history, often without public debate. As surveillance expands and subjective laws define what is offensive, the boundaries of freedom shift quietly. The real question is, who will decide what is banned next? Share your perspective.